Distraction.
Myself.
The language barrier.
Me.
I'm quite shy.
Time.
And my own attitude.
Too many projects.
The number one thing
Holding me back.
Holds me back. What's holding you back?
So the number one thing holding me back from
The number one thing holding me back is definitely myself and time. Okay, two things holding me back. I'm going from this hobby blog that I created on Wix over a year ago and switching gears to have a focused, niche down blog and website on WordPress. And every time I think of that transition and starting from scratch with WordPress, I'm just totally paralyzed. I think of the time it's gonna take and just the natural learning curve that has to happen. And it can be overwhelming, but I know that it has to happen. It's the essential piece to what everything that I'm building is based around this new blog and website. So I have to embrace it and put in the time and the energy and go through the pains, the growing pains of the learning curve to establish it and create this new blog and website. So currently I have some deadlines in place that I am holding myself to. I'm also blocking out large chunks of time where I can just sit down and focus on this one task and do the research that I need to dive in and make it happen. But probably the most important part is that I'm creating a list of the essential things that need to happen before it goes live. I think in my head it's a lot bigger than it needs to be. I have this big vision for it, but really I just need the frameworks, I need the foundation set, and I need it to go live so that I can make the changes as I continue to grow and learn more. I mean, it's the same thing that I tell my followers, right? Do the research, put in the time and the effort that you need to have a plan, but then you have to put that plan into action, and it's going to be painful, but if you keep pushing and overcome it, you're going to have major breakthroughs. Even saying that out loud and doing this video has helped me kind of clear up what I need to do to make this happen. Having that checklist that I can just check off and be yep, got it, it's ready to go live. It's not perfect, it's not going to be perfect, and having that in mind as opposed to, just the abstract assuming what I need to do and all the things I need to learn, that's where the overwhelm sets in and where inaction happens. It's too much, I can't do it, this learning curve, and I think that's where a lot of people give up. And I know that I need to do this in order to keep moving forward. So
Hey Emilia, thanks for having me on again. And in case anyone's wondering, no, I do not need these headphones. I am hiding a COVID haircut. So the number one thing holding me back from my business goals and my business visions is distraction. Oh look, Pat Flynn just uploaded a 2-hour webinar. Let's check that out. I don't know what it is, but this has been getting worse since the quarantine and staying home. I seem to do so much better and be so much more productive when I'm already busy because it really makes me prioritize things. The biggest time suck for me is distraction. And just before I sat down to record this video, I saw that you had gone live, and so I went over to your live stream and put this video off for another 15 minutes. And while creating my websites, creating content for them, and also working on my YouTube channel, there are so many distractions. Which color is the best for my CTA buttons? 13 reasons why blog ads suck and what to do about them. I can pay somebody to build me a whole bunch of backlinks and they're white hat, according to them. And which is best, Chewy or Amazon? These are the sort of distractions that are facing me all day long, and especially when you spend more time on YouTube. It's so easy to go down a rabbit hole and end up on a very random video. When I started all of this online business stuff, I was working at a job that I really disliked, and I had this fear that I would be stuck there until I had to retire. I would get home every night and just pour myself into these websites and work really hard on them. As my situation has improved and I have already experienced some freedom in my life, that work ethic founded in desperation has vanished quite a bit. And so now I find myself very easily distracted. So what am I doing to combat it? I am trying to get back to my roots. I am trying to wake up early and set aside 90 minutes to 120 minutes that I dedicate just on my website work, which is uninterrupted. Some tips for this that I personally use is when you turn that computer on in the morning, do not go to YouTube. Open up exactly what you need to be working on. I like to have an MP3 from music such as one of these, and I listen to the same one every time because I really find that creates that foundation of habit. My brain knows what to expect, and that is working on my website. I would love to hear from you down in the comments below, anyone who also struggles with distraction, and some tactics they use to stay focused and get the work done that's actually going to help improve their business.
I think the main thing holding me back is the language barrier, because I'm not a native English speaker. I'm from Denmark. So in writing, I've overcome this, and I'm still working on this with my editor, and also because I've outsourced most of my writing. But here on YouTube, it's still a big issue for me, and that's also why I'm doing a lot of editing on my videos. And many times when I have sort of a picture covering the screen, it's basically because I'm doing jump cuts, and it's because I'm stumbling over my own words. So that's definitely something I'm working on. And I'm trying to overcome this by constantly forcing myself to just push out a lot of video content. So I'm doing 2 videos per week, and that's how I'm trying to overcome it. And also, of course, I'm trying to speak English with my wife, and we're also teaching our toddler English, and that also helps a lot when we're speaking English at home sometimes.
G'day Emilia. So what's holding me back most in my business at the moment? Well, the first thing that I thought of was time. That I'm spending so much time on this website, and I can spend so much more time on this website and still not get everything done that I want to get done. But I think it goes a little bit deeper than that. Sometimes when I go to bed at night after a whole day of working on my website, I still don't know whether what I did in that day is actually going to move the needle. Is that going to make me any more money in the long run? So the thing that's holding me back even more than time is knowledge. In order to address that, I make sure that I listen to and learn from the experts as much as possible. One of the nice things about this area that we're in of making money online is there is so much excellent free information out there. One person I'm learning a lot from at the moment is Matt Diggity. I'm on his email list, and he sends me excellent information about how he builds extremely profitable websites. So I'd recommend to anyone who isn't on his email list at the moment to go to diggitymarketing.com, join his email list, and you'll get a ton of really good information from one of the biggest experts in our area.
When it comes to speaking to a camera, I find it intimidating. While I have spoken in front of large crowds, I find speaking to a camera quite difficult. I much prefer being the other side of the camera. This is a problem I've needed to overcome. I'm quite shy. That is my nature. So sometimes while a task is difficult, and sometimes while we tend to want to stay away from something that, although we enjoy, it's not quite what we want to do. Sometimes we just have to do it. We have to bite the bullet and jump in there and get it done. That is the little processes that I've put in place, just to take it week for week, just to implement a strategy that I can follow. And so far it's been working. We can only take it from here up, can only do better. Over time everything can improve, the process will get easier, and eventually I'll reach the goal that I first set out. We just have to overcome these small little problems along the way.
To be honest with you, I got a little depressed. I mean, things were going so well for me for so long, and in this last algorithm update, it bounced me back quite a bit. It took me a while to just realize that there's nothing I can do about that. I just need to keep going. So I just keep I think that's the thing that's holding me back. What's holding me back is my own attitude. I actually stopped posting on my blog for a while. Not for a while, for a couple of days. For me, that's a while. But I'm working hard and heavy right now, trying to get back up there. My stats are going back up, slowly but surely. But Google's doing weird stuff, so who knows what's going to happen. But I think I've just come to the conclusion that just keeping on going is really the only thing you can do, and that's what's going to solve the problem eventually. So my keyword research is on point. My articles are well written and readable. I have people come into my site. A lot of my posts are hitting #1. I think that might be one of the things I could point out that I'm realizing is that I got pretty good at going for long tail keywords, and I think I need to learn how to shoot for harder to get keywords, because along with the harder to get keyword comes more traffic. And I've noticed that I have a lot of #1 posts, and some of them have decent traffic, but I don't really have any that have a lot of traffic, like what I would consider a lot. A lot meaning maybe anything over 500 views per month for one post. I don't have any of those. So that's what I need to do for my blog. My blog is in its 11th month right now. I think I'm doing pretty well. I just need to keep going and not get discouraged when Google decides to. First it was Amazon, and then it was Google right after that. And there was a little 1-2 punch that got me a little discouraged for a little while. But, plus the pandemic and us being, kind of quarantined at home too, that gets to you after a while. But anyway, I did real good at the first part of the quarantine with posting on my blog. First, when Amazon changed their fee structure, then that kind of hurt me a little bit. And then when Google came out with their algorithm change, that hurt me again. But like I say, it's coming back, and I'm just going to keep pressing forward. That's all I can do. So that's it. Thanks.
Hey, what's up, boss? Adrian here. So what's the number one thing that holding me back to achieve my online goals and how I overcome that? Well, to be honest with you, it's a mix of three things, and that's lack of time, working on too many projects. These two actually leads to overwhelming in my case. So I have a day job that requires me to be there like 10, 12 hours per day, plus the commute and all that. So when I get home, there's not much time for me to work on these projects that I have as a digital marketer, to become a digital marketer full time. So that leads to overwhelming, things like, how should I use my time? Like, what should I do next? Like, what should I work on? What should I focus on? All these questions come into my mind, and that actually will lead to overwhelming. The way I found to be, and you've probably seen this if you watch my videos, this is my secret. This is how I move forward, and this is how I actually overcome these overwhelming issues that is holding me back so many times. So I have here my whiteboard. I have my queen here as well. Hey, queen, say hello.
Hey, how are you?
So as you can see, I have here my different projects. I have my Amazon, I have my YouTube channel, merch, other program, the telehandler website that I'm building for lead generation. I'm doing a case study here, and then I put videos, the things that I need to do. As you can see here, this is the video for Emilia's channel. I have even my baby girl is putting her own business plan on my whiteboard. This is the best way I found to move forward, because honestly sometimes I stay in front of this whiteboard for hours. I mean, I'm exaggerating a little bit, not for hours, but maybe an hour, half an hour, an hour or so, and just take my ideas out of my head and put them in here. And then when you look at it, you realize that you actually have actionable things, actionable steps, actionable things that you can go and apply to your whatever you're doing. Whereas if you don't have this, if you don't put your ideas in a paper or whiteboard, if you have one, you think what's gonna happen? You're not gonna move forward, because you're gonna have more ideas coming in your head. Then all these questions that you have, like I was saying, what should I work on? What should I focus on? And all that, unfortunately, is going to overwhelm you, and probably is not gonna help you to move forward. It's gonna actually make you quit or something like that. So that's how I do it. That's how I overcome these overwhelming issues that I'm having, with a whiteboard. And I hope this was helpful. See you later, boss.
So it's quite a simple one. It's quite an easy one. The number one thing that holds me back is me. You're looking at it. It's that self-belief. It's all of the fears and doubts and silly, crazy thoughts that go through your head as you're creating content, whether that's blogging or YouTube or in a Facebook group that I run as well. There's all these kind of little things that nag away at you, especially imposter syndrome. So I'm not a trained marketer. It's not something I've done for a career. I fix computers for a living, so it's all quite alien to me. I'm used to kind of logic and switching things on, switching things off. Things are either broken or they're working. So when you start going into marketing and blogging, and it's a bit more creative and it's a little bit more expressive, then it's completely different. It's completely alien to me. And a lot of that kind of sits in the back of your mind and holds you back from doing things as well. So especially when you're trying to then help others and teach others, and you think, who am I to teach anyone? Who am I to offer advice and to give guidance? And it's that imposter syndrome. You don't feel like you're qualified enough. You don't feel like you're good enough. And yeah, it's a constant battle. So what I tend to find is that when I'm having these little moments or breakthroughs, or when I'm looking at starting with something new, something I've not done before, that's when it's at its worst. And there's a way of pushing through that I've found. There's a way I've found that's kind of a way to cope with it, a way to push past it. And then, yes, it creeps back in. And each time that you kind of challenge yourself, you've got these same demons that you have to kind of get through. But I think a lot of that's normal. I think a lot of that's just signs that you're growing in the right direction. But it's a way of getting through that. So the way that works for me, it's quite simple really. Is to keep publishing, to keep creating. And the way it works, so this is what my mentor described to me basically. He calls it the circle of awesomeness. Now I don't know if that's like originally like a Tony Robbins thing, but if you think of a circle and then you've got action, results, belief, and it's a loop. So you've got little actions, it doesn't have to be anything major. It could just be that you post something on social media. It could be that you finish a blog post. It could be that a small action that is basically something that you wasn't doing before. It's a step ahead of where you was yesterday. And as you create these actions, you start to get small results from that. So it could be an additional subscriber. It could be that your YouTube video gets its first 10 views. And these results will build over time. So you've took a little action, you've got a little result, and that then gives you that belief as well. It gives you that self-belief. You kind of look at it and you think, wow, I never ever thought I would create a video on YouTube, and yet I've got a video on there and I've now got my first subscriber. And that then makes you take the next action and the next result and the next belief. And obviously not every action that you take will get a result. Some of them kind of fall on deaf ears, and you have to look at the positives that you've just learned what not to do next time, or try and find something, try and find a lesson in there somewhere. But yeah, it's this circle of awesomeness: action, results, belief. And that's pretty much what I do. There are other things that come into it, there are other parts of it, but I think if you just consistently keep stepping forward and implementing and publishing and finding your voice, creating that content, then eventually that like I say, that pushes you past this imposter syndrome and this, well, I'm not good enough to do that, no one will listen to me. Definitely other factors that get into it as well. Surrounding yourself by like-minded people that will support you and encourage you and tell you where you're going wrong. Having a mentor, if that benefits you as well. There's different support networks and support systems that you can put in place, but ultimately, for a lot of us, it's down to yourself. It's down to finding that way that you personally can find a way of pushing through. And a good way to push through is by finding something that will reward you with results and that will improve your own self.